I decided this year that it was time to change the bike. I needed something new. I've been having a few problems with my CB1000R with it starting or not starting sometimes, and figured it was time to change it up. Around a month or two back, I test rode a Ducati 899, just because I love the look of the bike, amazing looking bike, but it just didn't work for me. I don't really work in the racing riding position. It didn't actually feel powerful enough compared to my CB1000R, but at the same time wasn't as smooth a ride. I'm not quite sure how that works, but it just seemed to jerk me about the place, accelerating and rolling off, but at the same time didn't have the torque or the power that my CB1000 did. So then I thought back to the launch videos of the KTM 1290 Superduke R, and just how amazing the bike looked. It has got a lot of power. It's got 170 brake horsepower. It's a naked bike, and it should have torque in the bucket load. So I thought, well, let's do a test ride. So I went along to the KTM centre in Hemel Hempstead, I think it is, to check it out. And here's a bit of a video of what went on. There were two things that surprised me straight away. One was just the amount of power and torque that this bike had. Really was almost quite scary. I'm not sure I fully opened the throttle at any point in my test ride. It just had so much power. But linked in with that, I was surprised how smooth it put it down. So I wasn't being thrown about, I wasn't being thrown back. Well, actually I got thrown back at one point because I actually caught myself by surprise with how much it accelerated. But it just seemed to very smoothly be able to apply the power. And also as I rolled off, it didn't throw me forward and squash my testicles on the petrol tank or anything like that. So then of course there's for me the more comfortable riding position of the more upright seated that you get on a naked bike. I did also notice that the times that I did go at speed, I didn't feel like I was being battered by the wind like sometimes I will on my CB1000R. I don't know if the front fairing, well, no, there's no fairings, obviously the front of the bike is just better designed that it deflects more up and around me. I'm not sure, maybe I just wasn't going fast enough, but it seemed to actually be fairly well protected against the wind. If we look at the design of the bike itself, I think it's quite an aggressive design. It's not that dissimilar to my CB1000R. It's quite sort of almost pointy, sort of pointy downwardsy, if that makes sense. Brembo brakes and Akrapovic can on this one. I think that must be standard. Let's have a listen to the can. I don't really know how well that's going to come across in the video, but I have to say it sounded gorgeous. Deep, throaty, growly, really, really nice. So all around, for me, the appearance works for me. It comes in two different colours for the regular R, that being the orange or the black, and then there is the special edition, which is kind of a white-orange combination. Reading from the KTM website, the special edition is only available for a limited period of time. It treats the beast to a whole host of top quality KTM power parts. An Akrapovic titanium silencer reduces the weight while adding a thrilling soundtrack. Wave brake discs offer even better feedback and improve braking stability when the anger drops, while stiffer triple clamps optimize steering position. The multi-adjustable hand levers can be tailored to your specific needs, and a different seat optimizes ergonomics specifically for track use. To top it all off, an exclusive paint scheme, orange anodized aluminium power parts, and carbon fiber generator and engine covers skyrocket your street cred into the stratosphere. It does add £1,000 to the retail, puts it up to $14,999. The only negative that I could think of was that the suspension did feel very stiff. It felt like I could feel every bump and ridge in the road. Not a real issue, and I guess I could probably get it adjusted fairly easily. But that was the only thing really. The the only negative I think of. I loved the ride. It does have I think a slightly better seated position than my CB1000R, which I think is a very comfortable bike. I can sit on for hours, but it feels like my feet are slightly further from the seat, if that makes sense, and my knees aren't quite as hunched up underneath me, which does make for a very comfortable ride. Now, I've not mentioned the electronics on the bike yet. On that screen to the side of the rev counter, every now and then we're able to see, I think the sun's shining too bright at the moment, but you can see there's a whole bunch of different information on there. It didn't generally look that much use to me while I was riding, but that is where you see there are some controls just by my left hand that you can switch through to, for example, the riding mode, which was, I think, race, street or wet. Now, I kept it in street most of the time, and that was plenty of power. You could feel there was a bit more aggression when you switched to race, but I like the option that you can drop it down. I mean, even in wet, to be honest, it was still pretty punchy, but you could feel it smoothed the power in even more than it was normally. You do also have traction control and kind of built in with that wheelie control. It can be turned off. I wouldn't dare risk it. Well, unless I wanted to try wheeling, but I'm not that kind of a rider, to be honest. And it seemed to work very well. There was one point I might even have been in third gear, and I pinned the throttle, and I could feel as I moved around a car, I could feel the front wheel skip slightly, but it did a good job of controlling it and holding it down. You can change that while riding if you're not distracted by other things. All you have to do is roll off the throttle to for it to kick in. So then I'll speak briefly about the price. Its list price is $13,999, I believe. The SE is $14,999, but KTM have just started a deal where they're basically giving you £3,000 off the list price. So that's the special edition with the the funky can, the wave discs, the adjustable levers, the funky paint job, for 12 grand, which to me seemed almost silly not to do. So I went ahead and put a deposit down. I'm trading in my CB1000R for a KTM 1290 Superduke R Special Edition, because I loved it. I don't really know what more I can say. So there you go, that's my thoughts. Maybe it's been of interest or of use to you. I hope it has. If you haven't ridden one, try and book a test ride. I really recommend it. Great fun. Righto, my name's Andy. I'll catch you all again soon.